Hi, my name is Michael Vaughn, Volunteers in Public Schools Operations Manager. Our work plays a crucial role in bridging the gap between the community and public students. Our mission aims to foster student success and build support for public education. But this wouldn't be possible without the help of our dedicated volunteers. We're thankful today that we are able to speak with one of our dedicated volunteers, Mary Lou Potter. Thank you for being here today, Mary Lou.
Sure.
Could you share with us a little bit about yourself, like where you're from, and how did you become a part of VIPS?
I grew up in Lafayette. My mother was a school librarian. Not surprisingly, I love to read. I had recently left LSU where I taught microbiology lab, and I had taken a job where I was sitting in an office by myself all day reading and writing, and my church got involved with VIPS, and service is a very big component of our faith, and so I decided to sign up and become trained to be a reading friend. And I started out at Nicholson Elementary because I could eat a turkey sandwich in the car on the way to the school and work with my student, and then get back to my office during my lunch break. So that's how I got started 22 years ago now.
Thank you for being a reading friend. What drives your passion for being a volunteer?
Well, I personally believe that everyone should be doing something to make the world a better place, and I read somewhere that there's no better way to do that than to use our talents to improve the lives of others. So I think that fits, and I think Dr. Seuss kind of captures my mantra when he said, the more that you read, the more things you will know, the more that you learn, the more places you'll go. So I just think reading opens doors, a lot of doors.
Absolutely. Throughout your journey, I'm sure you've had some great experiences with your students. Could you share a time where you felt you really made a difference in a student and really impacted that student?
Sure. I've had some interesting experiences and some funny experiences, but my very first student, I started at Nicholson Elementary, and she had not attended kindergarten, and I started in January of that year. And it was a struggle for both of us, but the librarian there took me under her wing and sort of helped, and my mom would give me a little bit of guidance. And so the little girl had to repeat first grade because she really wasn't where she needed to be. So I stayed with her again the next year at Nicholson, and she did make progress. And then that elementary school closed, and she was transferred to Park Elementary. And so I followed her there, and a different librarian took me under her wing, and fortunately taught me how I could get back to my office without making an illegal left turn. But nevertheless, the little girl and I at this point were working on chapter books, and she was really coming along. And the good news is that by the third grade, she was not recommended to have a reading friend because she was reading on grade level. So that was neat.
Great. Last year's Crystal Apple Award recipient was Mary Lou Potter. This is a prestigious award presented to those who have dedicated over 10 years of volunteer service. How did you feel about receiving this recognition?
Well, while I was very touched and honored that someone thought that I was deserving of it, I didn't particularly feel that I merited it. I had done a lot of legwork in obtaining the books and materials that we assembled to put in the reading bins for the young students, but it really was not difficult work. I don't perceive myself to have a whole lot of talents, but one that I do seem to possess is persistence. I'll stick with something. Once I find something, I'll really stick with it. So I guess that's why I've been doing this for 22 years.
And why do you think it is important for people in the community to be involved in public schools?
Well, these students are our future, and they need to have all the tools necessary to be successful in life, and especially in our society. By the time students are entering second grade, they really need to know how to read so that they can then begin reading to learn information. And I'm absolutely convinced that education can help end the cycle of poverty and really foster hope in the future for students. And I was a little concerned that perhaps that was just my idea, that was how education was helpful, but I found this quote that I think says it much better than I, and it's from Confucius. He says, education breeds confidence, confidence breeds hope, and hope breeds peace.
So for those considering volunteering, what's some advice that you would share with them?
Just do it. There are many ways that you can volunteer. Become a reading or a math friend, or you can shelf books in the library, or you can help clean up or repair things on a playground, or paint lines to help direct the students to the cafeteria or the library. And the second piece I guess I would say is, especially if you're working with students, keep showing up. Just keep going. The kids need you. The kids look forward to your visits. By about your third visit, every little student in that classroom is going to know who your reading or math friend is. And should your student not be there, there will be all kind of hands up of children offering to come and work with you. So they relish having the one-on-one attention. They relish getting to demonstrate what they know how to do, and they're pretty eager to learn to improve their skill sets. I have found it very gratifying. And I'll say this, being a reading or a math friend is a way to really make a difference in someone's life using about 1 hour of your time per week.
Not only does Mary Lou volunteer, but she's also a generous donor to volunteers in public schools. Why is it important to contribute financially to you?
Well, my husband and I are both reading friends, and we understand that BIPS has a small staff of 5. It's necessary to always do a background check on anyone who's going to work with a student, and those can be pricey. We have a lot of college students who volunteer, and they only work usually 1 semester, so there's an ongoing need for background checks. Also materials to provide a few books that the students can take home. Many of our students don't have books in their homes. And just some of the materials that are necessary in the training and ongoing work with the students.
Being inside of the schools and being a volunteer, what are some of the things that you've learned?
I have developed tremendous respect for the teachers. Tremendous respect for the teachers. I didn't grow up in Baton Rouge, so I really had never been in a public school here until I started volunteering. I've been at Bernard Terrace now since after Katrina. It's one of my church's partner schools, so I feel like I understand its workings a little better. And I see some of the challenges that face the schools. Many of the students in my school are from underserved communities, and I think the teachers have to worry about a lot of things besides just trying to teach a child. Resources seem like they're always on the skimpy side, and just having an extra person to work with the student to give them a little bit of individualized attention, I think is very helpful. Many of the parents of students in my school work at night or maybe work 2 jobs, and they really aren't able to give their children as much attention as they might like to. There's a lot of grandparents and aunts and uncles helping raise children, and they're stretched pretty thin. So I think having volunteers can help offset that slightly, but there are a lot of challenges.
Well, thank you for your time, Mary Lou. We appreciate everything you do and the impact that you've made with your students. I'd also like to extend an invitation to those who are thinking about volunteering to go ahead and get involved. It's important for our community to be involved in public schools. If you're also thinking about donating, you can also visit our website at vipsbr.org. Thank you once again for joining us, and thank you for viewing.